Hi, it's Hope and welcome to the video. This is going to be part 2 of the pick one, drop one book challenge thing. I don't know what this is really, but I love doing the part 1 of this. So yeah, if you didn't watch part 1, I will leave that linked down below. But here is the thing. I have a little container that has pieces of paper with books. These are like not my favorite books, but like they might be like my least favorite book in a series I love, or a book that I loved, but like there was something that I didn't like oh, I love these books more than these books, but they're like favorites, but they're not favorites type thing, if that makes sense. Because there was a lot of books that on my favorite I'd be like, oh yeah, duh, I'd pick that one over any of these, or oh, I'd pick that one over that one, that one over that one. But with a lot of these, I'm like, I really like them, but which one would I pick? To kind of not have my ranting, I'm not continually ranting, let's go. And if I have the book physically, I'll hold it up. If I don't, I'll insert a photo of it, and I'll kind of do a little explanation of these books and why, like what they're about and why I like them and why I dislike them. But first we'll start off with, if you can read that, The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. And The Cruel Prince is about a girl named Jude who, when she was a child, got her and her two sisters got taken from the mortal world into the fairy world, and was raised by raised in a fairy family and in the fairy world. And now that Jude is 16, we start the story there, and she doesn't like being in the fairy world, and she has all these goals and these plans, and we see those kind of go through type thing. It is a very dark series with Jude is very morally gray, but I love her. I also love Carden, who is the secondary main character, who's Jude's love interest. I absolutely love Carden. This one, there's a very few in here that I think would beat this, because I do love this series, but I only gave every book 4 stars because I like the characters more than I love the plot. The only reason I like the plot is because it gets Jude and Carden together, and they are my favorite enemies to lovers. Spoiler about that. Oops, I probably should have said that before. But let's see what book we're putting this up against. Oh, this is gonna be hard. We have Winter by I don't know if you can see that. Winter by Marissa Meyer, and Winter is the 4th book in the Lunar Chronicles series, which there are 4 books in the series. Each book is a Disney retelling, but they all kind of go into one larger plot, and it's a sci-fi type dystopian story. Basically, we follow in the first book we follow a girl named Cinder who is part cyborg. About many years after the 4th World War, there's a colony of people living on the moon, and all of that. The second book is about a girl named Scarlet. The 3rd book is about a girl named Cress, and then the 4th book is about a girl named Winter, and all the plots coincide with each other. And Winter is my favorite because it's the longest, and we see all of the characters' point of views. We see the wrap up to the story, and I am really struggling with this because The Cruel Prince I did only give 4 stars, and Winter I did give 5. But this is hard. This is actually harder than I thought. This was one that I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna be easy. Oh. I do also really love all of the couples in Winter and overall in the Lunar Chronicles. And it's I think I have to say Winter by Marissa Meyer. Solely because I love it's a larger cast of characters and I love all of those characters so much. Like I can't even say like a couple I love because it would spoil basically the entire series, but I love this story and it's one of the few like sci-fi series that I've ever read that I've loved, so I have to go with Winter because I overall love that series more. Yeah, I'd have to go with Winter. Round 2, that last round was way longer than I thought it was going to be. But for round 2, we have the selection. The selection follows a girl named America who lives in this dystopian kind of like North America type world. And she enters this thing called the selection, which is a competition to figure out who is going to marry Prince Maxon and eventually become the queen. And it is a very like romance book. There's a love triangle in here that I'm iffy about. But yeah, the selection. And the selection is going to go up against... Ooh. It's going to go up against Lady Midnight. I hate that I have to hold this up. Lady Midnight follows a group of shadow hunters at the Los Angeles Institute in the year 2012. Shadow hunters are a race of humans that have angel blood that gives them extra abilities, and they fight off against demons. And in this we follow the Blackthorn siblings and Emma Carstairs, just living their life in the Los Angeles Institute. But Emma has an extra motive of trying to figure out who killed her parents 5 years prior, when everyone says that this person killed her parents when she knows that that person didn't. We also have one of the Blackthorn siblings that had to leave for reasons, get brought back, and it's just this kind of adventure. It is a part of a larger series, and between the selection and Lady Midnight, I have to go with Lady Midnight, solely because I love the characters more, and overall I love the Shadowhunter books so much more. But like, this is kind of hard because I do love the selection, but I read Lady Midnight first. I fell in love with the characters more. I'm excited to read the spin-off of some of these characters whenever the hell that comes out in the next like 4 years, I think, something like that. I don't know, but like Lady Midnight, I just absolutely love. Round 3. Yeah, 3. I was like, is that 3? Yes, it is. We have... we have Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. And Red Queen follows a girl named Meyer who lives in this village. She lives in this world where there are red-blooded people and silver people. Basically, people with red blood are like normal people. They live in villages, they do work and all that, versus silvers are like the elite. They're like almost like royalty or royalty. And silvers have these abilities that reds do not. But when Mare ends up at the castle of some of the silvers, she ends up discovering that she has these powers that she shouldn't have. So she ends up getting, she ends up becoming the lost princess of a family, just so that she can survive, basically, and be a silver. And this series is one that I absolutely love, so this is going to probably be hard. Red Queen is my least favorite book, but it has a plot twist at the end of the first book that had me, I'm pretty sure I threw my iPad, because I read this on my iPad, across the room, scream and cry. But the fourth book in the series is definitely my favorite, so that's why I'm like, this is my least favorite of the series. But let's see what... I literally was just saying, what if this was the one that was next? The Wolven Mark by Megan Linski. And this, we follow two perspectives. We follow a girl named Emma who grew up in Detroit and ends up discovering that she is actually part of this magical country in Europe that she didn't know existed until after she is attacked by, I can't remember what she's attacked by, but she's attacked by something, and that kind of is what reveals that, oh yeah, she's a part of this magical community. Then we follow Ethan, who is the prince of this country that is this magical country, and Emma ends up having to travel to this country to attend university, which is a university where they train you to use these like powers, and we have like these different factions that have different powers and abilities and can like shapeshift into things, Prince Ethan and Emma end up meeting, and the story kind of go from there. I do love this story because it has disability rep, as Emma has a autoimmune disease that I cannot remember exactly what it's called, but it is an autoimmune disease where she has to get these like transfusions to basically stay alive. And then we have Ethan, who is disabled because he lost his one leg at the beginning of the story. This one is so much hard because I love Red Queen, but then when I read the Wolven Mark, I was blown away with the world that was created and just the overall idea of it. This one is really, really, really hard. Red Queen or the Wolven Mark. I literally was saying when I pulled Red Queen, I was like, what if this is, and then when I was picking, I was like, what if I pick out the Wolven Mark? That one will be hard. I feel like I'm gonna go with the Wolven Mark solely because the series is incomplete. The next book is coming out, I think, next year or something like that. Could be wrong. It's coming out sometime, I think, next year. So it has the most potential to be great. There's only 2 books out, and with the disability rep, I love that, and I feel like the disability rep is done correctly. And overall, if I had to pick, I'd pick the Wolven Mark, but I absolutely love Red Queen. I think that's the right choice to pick the Wolven Mark. Also, the Wolven Mark is a less known series that I've never heard anyone talk about it. So yeah, the Wolven Mark. But I absolutely love Red Queen, don't get me wrong, I love Red Queen. So for round number 4, we have Clockwork Angel. Clockwork Angel follows, we have a girl named Tessa Gray who lives in 1878 New York. And when her brother goes missing, she has to travel to London to try to find him, but she ends up getting tied up with this dark group and has to be saved by shadow hunters. Shadow hunters being, as I explained earlier, except we're in 1878 London. And Tessa has to go to the London Institute to be saved. Basically, she gets saved by the London Institute, and we go from there. This has my all-time favorite love triangle, but this is my least favorite book in the series because, in my opinion, if like not a lot happens except for like introducing the characters, reminding you of the world / teaching you of the world. There's a few things that are like, oh, okay, that happened, but like I rarely think about Clockwork Angel. I mainly think about Clockwork Prince or Clockwork Princess. And what Clockwork Angel is going to go up against is, well, this one's gonna be easy, Tower of Dawn. And Tower of Dawn is the 6th book in the Throne of Glass series. I cannot actually explain anything about Tower of Dawn because it's the 6th book in the series, but I guess I kind of can. Basically, the Throne of Glass series, at the start of the series, follows a girl named Selena Stardothian, who is an assassin who got imprisoned, and she ends up getting out of prison by the help of the king to compete in the king's competition to become a assassin, and like not to become like assassin, but to become the king's assassin. And the 6th book in the series, we follow a character named Micheal. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right, but he has to travel to a different continent for reasons, and overall Tower of Dawn is by most people their least favorite book in the series, solely because what's going on elsewhere in the series, you're like, wait, what? And I have to pick Clockwork Angel because Tower of Dawn is my least favorite, but I do love it. But I have to pick Clockwork Angel solely because I like the characters more and has a love triangle I love more, versus Tower of Dawn I loved. Don't get me wrong, I really, really, really enjoyed it, but it's my absolute least favorite in the series, and it could have been shorter. I'll give it at that. It could have been shorter, but I do like the romance in it a little bit. But Clockwork Angel. I'm trying to remember what ones are left now, because I wrote these out like months ago. There's 3 left, but there's only 1 more round because I made an odd number for some reason. Why, I don't know. But final round will be, ooh, excuse me, Divine Blood by Beck Michaels. And Divine Blood follows a girl named Dinah who lives in this village, and for the last, I don't know how many years, there has been this like shadow thing that comes every 10 years and kills the children of the village. And we start off when Dinah is, I think, 9 years old, and the shadow thing comes and kills her brother and her mother and father, since her mother and father were trying to save her younger brother. And then we end up being 9 years later. Dinah remembers this. There's this like amulet type thing that her father gave her and her little sister and her grandma to try and save them from this shadow thing, and it worked. And she wants to go and find out more about this to try and replicate it. And so then she goes on this, like, she leaves her village even though she's told not to, and she ends up in this forest where she ends up stumbling across her cousin Zev, and this celestial named Cassiel, and they agree to go on this journey with Dinah, Zev for obvious reasons as their cousins, and then Cassiel for his own reason, and all of that. This is only the first book in the series. There's only one book out. I did really enjoy this. But what is it going to be put up against? I remember what one of them is that it's going to go up against, but I can't remember what the other one is. And what it's going up against is Bone Crier's Moon. Bone Crier's Moon is about a girl named Elise who is going to become this thing called a Bone Crier. Well, she's a Bone Crier, but she's going to become a Bone Crier Farrier after she gets this third thing that she needs to become a Bone Farrier. Basically, Bone Crier Farriers ferry the dead either into heaven or hell, basically. But to become a Bone Crier Farrier, you have to kill your one true love. Enter Bastien, who is Elise's one true love. His father was killed by a Bone Crier, and so were his friend's father. And he wants revenge. So when Elise ends up being his one true love and she's supposed to kill him, he kidnaps her. Enter Sabine, who is Elise's best friend, and Sabine tries to save Elise from Bastien, and all of that. That's the simple explanation of this. But out of Bone Crier's Moon or Divine Blood, I think I have to choose Bone Crier's Moon, just because there was a lot more plot twists than I thought. There are like 2 kind of plot twists that make you just go, oh, well, that changes everything. Versus in Divine Blood, there wasn't really. I love Divine Blood. This one is kind of hard, but probably would have to choose Bone Crier's Moon. Also, this is the most recent book that on this list, as I just read it in July and really, really enjoyed it. But yeah, Bone Crier's Moon. And the last book on this list that didn't get a partner to be chosen off it with is actually A Court of Thorns and Roses. Yeah, this one doesn't get any mentions of anything because it didn't get picked. But I love it. So yeah, that was me playing the pick one, drop one book challenge thingamajigger. I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye!